I'd like to call to order the Thursday, March 9th, 2017 Board of Adjustment meeting. Roll call, please.
Stoneberger.
Present.
Hanson.
Here.
Dolly.
Here.
Shriver.
Here.
McGuire.
Here.
Stein.
Here.
Dennis Arnold is absent. Mr. Albertson.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of the February, March 9th, 2017 minutes. Could I get a motion in a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hanson, second by Mr. Stonebarger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Second item was applicants Carl and Emily Larson, 1000 Degree Pizzeria, are requesting a conditional use for the consumption of alcohol at 2631 10th Avenue Southeast.
Thank you. Conditional use request. Applicant seeks approval for the sale, serving, and consumption of alcohol beverages in the C3 Highway Commercial District pursuant to 2128-033 Bar and Tavern contingent upon compliance with location and specific rules governing individual uses. The Bar Tavern is a listed conditional use of the C3 district. Let's see this. The C3 district is now exempt from the 100-yard thing that we used to have, remember? So they don't have to show that they're that far away. But of course, we already have a liquor license with Lone Pine on the opposite end of the building. And so it meets all of our city requirements. There's just site plan signage is not addressed, but it's okay. The board may consider bar tavern applications in the broadest sense of the terms, ability of application to hold any and all types of alcoholic beverages. So,
Thank you. With that, I'll open the public hearing if anyone's here to speak on behalf or against the conditional use. Ken, when the conditional use for the establishment at the other end of the building, do we approve just that
we did at
legal?
that time.
Just that legal part, not the entire building?
Yeah, it was just the east end of the. We didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't do the whole building and grounds.
And
They're actually asking for their portion and the grounds because they actually want to be able to have a patio or somebody out in the front.
is the grounds outlined in blue?
No, we'd actually probably be more of a. Where's mine?
Should we approve for the entire building?
Ken, if you want, yeah. We're basically looking for something about like there right now. And did we spell it out, Jill? Do you know exactly?
I believe
We can. If you give us your intent one way or the other, we'll either specify it to that area and the grounds of the building that far, or we can just do the whole property if you want. Save the next guy from coming back or not.
That was my thought. Any reason we wouldn't do the entire property? Could we ever say, well, there's too many bars in that building? That would be our only reason.
Since the biggest portion of this is before was just make sure that we wasn't located at a bar or a church or boys, not a bar, but a boys and girls club or some daycare
School.
or something like that. So and it's exempt from that provision anymore anyway. So
Mr. Chairman,
I really have no issues with it.
the grounds just around that unit would be on the last paragraph of the staff report, 73 by 225.6 feet.
Okay, so that's what the request is for
Yep.
just the grounds surrounding that particular question.
And that's what Lone Pine Barbecue did, is
Same
they just
thing.
had their unit and the grounds around it.
It gives us an opportunity to take a closer look at who's coming in, legally. When we look at the zoning side of it, is this the appropriate place for that? It's hard to say no when there's one at the other, when we've already approved the other end of the building, so.
Yeah.
But
And it was public notice. Nobody came forward pro or con either way against it or for it. So
all right, all the notifications went out and came back?
that's correct.
Okay.
Ken, I got a question. If they put a patio out there, how is the parking? Do they got plenty of parking spaces?
Well,
or is that?
the parking for the building meets requirements, so to speak. When they come in now with this new use, it's going to require approximately probably 20 more parking that was allotted under the original set for the building. But that ship has sailed. I mean, they're going to be there whether you give them a liquor license or you don't give them a liquor license. If they don't have adequate parking to satisfy their business, that's just a business decision they're going to have to make on their own. They're probably going to have to go next door and Sherwin-Williams and say, hey, can I lease part of your space for parking or something? I mean, if that's a problem, they're going to love it, so. But it's not an actual consideration we can make anymore. They met that original requirement.
Ken, another question. It says they don't intend to have video lottery. Do they have to come before us or city council if they would decide to add video lottery at a
They
later?
will still have to go to the city council. Yeah, you're only blessing the dirt anyway for an alcohol of whatever type. Nothing more, nothing less. Anything further than that, they're going to have to get from the city council, whether they want beer and wine, if they want to go to hard liquors or they want to go to video lottery. We today said, yep, the dirt's good. Anything else will be taken care of in city council.
Well, just to clarify that point, actually, so what the city council would look at is the license for video lottery to attach to a malt beverage or wine. What you would be doing today is establishing the bar tavern use, which would dictate not only alcohol use, but also that gambling could perhaps one day be present on the site.
But they would have to obtain that separately from the city council.
So,
Yes or no?
So, by the bar tavern use would convey the ability to have gambling if the license was obtained from the
We're the
city
cart
council.
before the horse.
Exactly.
Perfect. Got it. Legalese, my way. Any other questions for him? Anyone else speak in the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, ask for a motion and a second for discussion. Motion by Mr. McGuire, second by Mr. Stein. Any other discussion, any other questions on it?
You got to clarify what you're saying yes to.
I assumed it was just for the portion that was in the staff report. That's what they're asking for.
Whole building allow that.
Okay, motion by Mr. McGuire, you second that? Second by Mr. Stein. Any other discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item number 3 is
Did you say entire building or entire property?
entire property was the intent.
Okay, just yes.
I'm sure that's
It's
what
a
it
big
meant.
difference.
Thank you for clarifying.
Item number 3 is applicant Troy Bendy for Subway Restaurants, asking to modify a non-conforming building at 505 and 507 Arrow Avenue.
You will have to come back up and sign the paperwork like tomorrow or something, okay? That's fine. Okay. Yes, thank you. Troy Bendry for Subway Restaurants, 505 and 507 Arrow Avenue. Application was submitted requesting construct a non-conforming 495 square foot 15 by 33 addition onto an existing non-conforming 3,750 square foot commercial building. Said structure proposed to be constructed 29.5 feet from the front west property line, where a minimum of 40 feet is required. This is basically legally non-conforming. The original permit on this side over here was set for 30 feet, and it's just basically the siding and everything else that's kind of throwing it out that extra half a foot. And he's wanting to build, of course, just in line with the existing structure. It's basically, yeah, so you're not seeing on here, but there's already been an addition I was put on back here, and this, what did we do that last year?
Yep.
Yeah, just last year, to extend the video lottery and a cooler for his stuff. They're now gonna come back and ask for a portion here for the Subway can add on. And the intent is they're gonna put a lane here more or less and a drive-up window over here for drive-up service on this facility. With the request comes the requirement to pay for some additional parking, install a couple trees, and put in some fencing, which he wants to talk to you about. Again, it was all public notices requirements were met, and we've had no response pro or con from anybody. So,
Thank you with that.
except for Mr. Bindi in favor of it.
Thank you all. With that, I'll open the public hearing if anyone's here to speak on behalf or against the variance. Troy? You're up. And I did double check. It looks like there's 2 lots, but they have been combined into a development lot agreement. So he's not right on that lot line.
We just got that done. Troy Bendy. Mike, my only question is, Kenny brought it to my attention earlier today about fencing that whole back 150 feet. I wasn't aware of that was a requirement. And filling in over on the east side, there's a gap in the fence. I mean, it's been that way for 14 years. I don't understand what the fence issue is now.
It has to be buffered. Does it not necessarily fence?
Yeah, it could be a hedge. It could
Hedge,
be a-
tree, lilac bushes
just-
that
Well-
eventually will grow to the point where, as they come around, the
Fence
lights
is
don't
usually
shine into the
Yeah,
residential
yeah.
units. It was the reasoning.
Right. I guess my only question is it's the first that I remember having to talk about a fence in this property. Like I said, we built that 14 years ago. It's been that way for 14 years, and all of a sudden we're talking about a fence that kind of caught me off guard.
Whenever we have residential and commercial next to each other, we always look to where lights will shine when they come in, and we ask for a buffer, not necessarily a fence, though. It can,
Right, I
can be a
understand that.
tree or something.
But like I said, it's been that way for 14 years as a commercial building and residential next to it.
Yeah, well, you're gonna greatly increase that traffic going.
Well, I'm not
shining
disputing that.
lights to the north, so.
I mean, I'm not opposed to putting a fence up neither. I understand about being neighborly. My question is, could we do 80 feet? Why do we need to do, if we can show where that triplex shows, if we go like halfway, does that make everybody happy? Because you're fencing that back portion or hedging it for nothing. I mean, it's behind a garage, it's,
I think the reason on that lot over there, and I watched it for snow, otherwise you're gonna have something in the way for your removal over there, right?
that's part of the problem.
Yep.
How about on the east side of your property, between
There-
those two north houses? Is there a
There's
fence there?
generally, there currently is a
There's a
fence in
fence
there,
there.
John. There's just a gap
And a fence there,
between, I don't know what the lot numbers are.
between here and here.
Yeah, there's a gap in between there. And like I said, it's been that way since day one.
Ken, could you, with the cursor, illustrate where, with the 80-foot fence, that would be where?
Yeah, let's see, so if he comes from this corner here and goes 80 feet this way, it's gonna be about right there, about to the T on the street there.
So then there is no other fence except for the car lot?
No, there's a fence right here too, John.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
there's a
that's a
fence.
full fence?
Yep.
Okay,
And then there's a fence on Les's property.
right.
There's the gap is between the two middle lots.
So that 13 Sixth Street does not have a fence on it?
Correct.
Okay.
That's the only place that there's not a fence on that side. And like I said, it's been that way since day one.
You're going to pave that parking lot back
Yes,
there
we're
where the
gonna-
3 cars are?
We're gonna pave 40 by 80, 3,200 square feet of it, which will be, that's why I'm asking the 80 feet. The concrete will match the fence.
So there'll still be dirt around the shed?
Right. Well, it's actually recycled asphalt, but it needs to be touched up, of course, but
Which way do you drive in there, Troy? You come from the west?
no, you,
Circle around?
They'll come this
No,
way
they'll
Oh,
around.
go through the, okay.
He's got to
from the
drive up
south.
right here right now for the
Yeah.
liquor store.
Right.
And then they'll come around this way, and then this is where they'll approach the new addition back here, drive up window for the subway.
right. And then you go out west.
Pete, give me an overhead.
Ken, you've gotten nothing back from the neighbors on this?
No, we didn't hear anything from anybody pro or con, so, but maybe they're, oh, no. So, yeah, so we'll come in this way, and he's already got to drive up right here then. This addition is now on there that's not shown in your picture right now. That's the expansion of his coolers and his video lottery. And the proposed addition is going to be this one right here, and then they'll have another drive-up window right here again. And then
Right in
go
the
on
corner,
out that
right.
way. So.
Any questions for him? Everybody got them answered? Anyone else speak in the public hearing? Blake, you got a question?
You know, that house to the.
Yep, go ahead.
Luke.
Luke, do you have a comment?
Luke Muller, First District. One option with what he's brought up, and some of that is that if the board's considering perhaps only requiring a portion of the fence at this time, you could reserve the right through the conditional use, or through the variance even as a condition of it, that if you receive complaints, the rest of it would have to be added in at a future time. And that probably makes sense. I mean, I don't think you want to ruin anybody either. you
No,
know?
I get that.
Yeah, and so only do what has to be done at this point.
I mean, I'm looking at it as an additional expense.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it hasn't been an issue for 14 years.
But I mean, if you look at the way that the traffic's going to come through there, that one to the east, they're sitting so far back there that you don't have to worry about the headlights issue for that property, but the one to the north you would, and so it does make sense to have the fencing there.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'll close the public hearing. Ask for a motion in a second for discussion.
I'll make a motion that he puts up, how many feet of fence again?
80.
80? 80 feet of fence. Or shrubs or screening. or
Buffering.
Whatever the,
With the clause that he might have to put the rest of it in complaints.
with the clause, if there's too many complaints, that he would have to put the rest of it up.
And then within there, earlier on, you said he understands the paving, the trees.
Yep.
That's, okay. All right. I have a motion by Mr.
I
McGuire. Motion by Mr. McGuire, second by Mr. Hanson. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business, Ken.
Nothing for me.
Nelson Home Occupation Dog Kennel.
Natalie Nelson came before this board a couple of years ago for a home occupation dog kennel, and she was approved. And one of the stipulations by the board was that it was approved conditional to a review every 2 years. We'd like to know how you'd like to handle that. Do you want her to come back with a full-blown documentation of, again, to the board, or do we just want to invite her to attend?
I'd say we just invite her to attend, but in the meantime, we should get some information as to what's been going on there since she originally came in. Still being used as a dog kennel?
Yes, as far as I
Okay.
know. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll just have her come back and then visit with her as to what's going on. We need to know if there's been any complaints or anything like that from the city's end, so.
No documentation submitted, just to have her aware of what we'll be asking of her, or do
Yeah.
you want her to submit?
I'd like to have her try to recertify it, or try to get another conditional use, because I was against it to begin with, and I'm still against it, so.
Go through the process again as a full-blown application?
Is this the location that's up on Highland Drive or Highland Boulevard?
I got it highlighted on here.
Right. And she had a fire, right?
That's correct.
And there was discovered that there's a lot more animals there than what we had approved for, right?
I don't know if there was or not, because, I mean,
No,
we
they
allowed
were-
six adults and then however many puppies they can produce.
I don't have the minutes in front of me, but a lot of dogs were allowed, and she was not over that number at the time of the fire.
But we need to reinvestigate that and make sure we're telling you exactly what it is. So it's up to you guys, however you want to proceed. If you just want to bring her in and talk to her, or if you want to go have her go through the application and bring it back up.
What do you guys think? Bring her and talk to her? Because I think we're,
If we bring her in and talk to her, we're not gonna turn her down, is what you're saying?
Well, you can always,
can we change the conditions?
I don't know, we'd have to bring it up and ask Justin. And we're not, we didn't bring anything to look at to tell you, we're flying blind on this one.
Is there any stipulations with, since that house did start on fire and something's happened there, that maybe Chip take a look at it and see if it's,
And it doesn't have to be done at the next meeting. We can, why don't you come back to us with some, if you can, in our next packet.
Let's just do a little research.
Yeah.
We'll bring you back. some
Send us what we
information.
have and what we did. If I remember right,
'Cause we might
we-
even have
we
to call
we
her and
thought,
verify
well-
that she's even doing something there.
Yeah, the original conditional use was very loose, and she had numerous animals, a lot more than I think we thought.
we're far more
They were
savvy
doing-
now than we used to
Yes.
be.
So I'd like to.
If I remember, it was like 6 breeding females. We were kind of focused on the breeding females, and we didn't. I think we let our guard down on total number of dogs because we were more concerned about breeding. And then when that fire happened, it went, wow, there's a lot more dogs there than what we envisioned. So why don't you update us in our packet as to what was there? We'll get up to speed on it, and then we'll make a decision at the
Readdress it.
next
Sounds
meeting. Thanks.
Informed decision. Great.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn? By Mr. Stein, second by Mr. Dolly. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
No, they didn't have nothing.